right, so for number 4 here, to write the equation of a line, you either need to have, and let me just do this first. To write an equation, you either need to have a slope and a y-intercept, or you need to have a slope and a point. The third possibility is if you just have 2 points, you can write the equation, okay? So there is a third possibility. So a slope and a y-intercept, a slope and a point, or 2 points. If you have any of this, that's usually the kind of questions that you're going to find. If they give you the slope and they give you the y-intercept, you're going to use this form, and you're going to plug that slope in here, and you're going to plug the y-intercept in here, and it will create your equation. If you have a slope and a point, you're going to use this equation, and write the equation. And the way that this works is, well, the slope, again, is your m. Slope is always m. A point, if you have a point, we're just going to call whatever that point is x1, y1. Right? Whatever x, y you have will go into these 2 spots right here. Put your x there and your y right there. And then you can rearrange it to make it look better, but that's what you're going to plug those things in to create your equation. Okay? So in this question right here, you're given a point right here, but then it gives you this thing right here, parallel to, okay, this is a way of saying, this is like a clue that says, here's where you're going to find your slope. Okay? You're going to find your slope from this information. The way that you find your slope from this information is that because it's parallel to this line, if it's parallel to this line, whatever, okay, I'm going to say the slope. Whatever the slope is of this line, it will be the same as the slope for this line that you're trying to write an equation for. So this equation here, the only purpose it has is for you to figure out what is its slope. Once you have that slope, your line will have the exact same slope. Okay? Now, you may want to rewind, listen to that twice, because that's kind of the key to understanding this question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation right here, 3x minus 4y minus 7 equals 0. I'm going to solve for the y, get the y by itself, because remember with that last question, number 3, when I did that, when the y is by itself, then the number that's right in front of the x will be the slope. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to subtract. Let me switch here. I'm going to go minus 3x on both sides, just like that last one. I want to add 7 to both sides, bring my equal sign down, and so I get the 3x, that's gone, right? Minus 4y is still here. The 7 is gone. Over on this side, minus 3x plus 7. Then I'm going to divide by negative 4, both sides, okay? Divide by negative 4 to get that y completely by itself. Remember, you can divide the whole thing or you can divide each one. Okay, if I divide the whole thing or each one, same thing. The key is on this side, the negative 4 and the negative 4 cancel. I'm left with just y. On this side, let me switch back here. On this side, the negative 3x divided by negative 4, negative divided by negative is a positive. So I get a positive 3/4 x. And honestly, the next, this doesn't even matter to me, but I'm going to go ahead and finish it out. It would be minus 7/4. It's minus because a positive divided by a negative is a negative, so I go minus 7/4. Now, this is only here for one reason. If you think back to what I just said, the only purpose of this is to get this slope, because my line is going to have the exact same slope as this line, because parallel means they're going the same direction, so they're going to have the same slant to them, right? The same slope. So that means the slope of my line, so all I did this for was just to get this one number, and then I'm going to ignore this. So I'm going to go, okay, so now I have a point and I have a slope. And now I'm going to ignore entirely, and so just to right? Now I'm going to ignore it entirely. This question does not matter anymore. Since this is a video, you can always rewind it and look at it again. But none of that matters to me anymore. I'm done with that piece of information. I'm over it. I'm through. Now all I'm doing is writing my equation. If you think back to what I said, right, if I have a slope and a point, I use this right here. Okay? So that's what I'm going to use now to write my equation. So all that first part was just to get that one number. I've got that number. So now I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to write my equation. Okay, remember it's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, that's the form that we're going to follow. Okay, so the m is right here. This x and y is my x1 and my y1. That's what these are, right? So y minus, and then y1 is 2. So y minus the y1, m, 3/4, x minus a negative 2. Minus a negative 2 is plus 2. Minus a negative is the same thing as adding. Okay? And then I don't know what your teacher expects. You could possibly leave it this way. I don't know if your teacher wants more than that. If they wanted it in slope-intercept form, does it say? Let x be the independent, y be the... Okay, so yeah, so this is a way of saying put it in slope-intercept form. So I need to distribute this 3/4 and get this 2 over to this side. So let's do that one step at a time. So first of all, y... Oh, wait. Undo. Stick with this. So y minus 2 equals... so I'm going to distribute this 3/4. 3/4 times x is 3/4 x. 3/4 times 2. Okay, so 3/4 times 2 would be the same thing as 3/4 times 2 over 1, because the 2 is over 1. Okay, so I can multiply this and get 6/4, and then simplify and get 3/2, because 2 goes into both those. Or I could have divided that beforehand, right? I could have said, well, 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into this 2 times, and then multiply. 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 1 is 2. Either way you go, you get 3/2. So now we've got plus 3/2. Okay. And then I'm going to add this 2 to get rid of it. Plus 2. I'm going to bring down my equal sign. Y is all that's left. 3/4 x. 3/2 plus 2. So now I've got to do 3/2 plus 2. Well, just like that last question, plus 2 over 1. But adding, you can't just go straight across. You have to get a common denominator. So I got to think, what would 2 be with in terms of halves, right? So one way that you can do that is to say, okay, well, I need a 2 down here, so I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 2. Right? 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay? So now you got 3/2 plus 2 could be written this way. And now I can add. We get 7/2, or let's see, 7/2 would be 3.5. Is that right? Yeah. 3.5 or 7/2. All right, so your teacher's probably okay with you leaving it this way. So we get plus 7/2. So your answer would be y equals 3/4 x plus 7/2, or 3.5. Okay?